the Sengoku period, I believe.
Oh,
most
Sengoku,
of them.
okay.
Even though the anime is set.
It's funny
because
because like as much as like Japanese shit as I watch and consume, anytime I see like traditional
always just the
Japanese,
Edo period,
it's just Edo period. yeah. It's just Edo period.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a vague idea. It's all just feudal Japan.
It's just feudal Japan. It's just samurais just
We're not
going
history
around.
buffs, we're podcasters. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with H. With me, as always, is my co-host Tavi. Hi, Tavi.
Hello, Dan.
How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good, man. It's a nice foggy day in Melbourne as we're recording, which is, you know.
Every day is a nice foggy day in Melbourne. I've been in this town for 2 months now, Tavi, and every day has been 15 degrees and cloudy.
That's the way I like it.
Yeah. It's just Melbourne weather, you know, Tavi.
It's Melbourne
You
weather,
never know
yeah,
what
yeah.
you're going to get.
Definitely makes lighting a lot easier.
Yeah, these are local references that nobody outside of Australia is going to understand.
Yeah, because that's how you do a podcast. You just make local references.
Just making it
and jokes.
inaccessible from the get-go.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we're doing.
So, Tavi, today we're going to be talking about 2 hot samurai properties from Netflix.
Yeah, that's right. We're kind of a samurai special today.
Yep.
Not really based on any theme. We just saw these trailers.
Let's call it Samurai Friday.
Yeah, Samurai Friday.
This episode might come out on a Friday. You never know.
Now it has to come out on a Friday. You can't actually. We've just come up with an arbitrary deadline.
No, people will listen to it on a Friday. We'll release it on a Monday, but people will listen to it on a Friday.
Okay,
So Samurai Friday, everybody.
Yeah, Samurai
welcome.
Friday. I guess that's I mean, it's not an actual alliteration, but it does roll off the tongue.
It's
so that's all
catchy,
right.
no?
It is catchy, yeah.
So we're going to talk about these 2 animes on Netflix currently, Onimusha and Blue Eye Samurai.
Woohoo, yeah.
Okay, let's get straight into it then. Let's start with Onimusha.
Okay, yeah, Onimusha, based off the Capcom, I think it's a kind of like a survival horror, but not really.
Action. I've never played the games. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I haven't played the games either, but they're samurai based. They're usually set in that kind of Edo period.
The Sengoku period, I believe.
Oh,
most of
Sengoku,
them.
okay.
Even though the anime is set.
It's funny
during the Edo
because
period.
like as much as like Japanese shit as I watch and consume, anytime I see like traditional
always just the
Japanese,
Edo
it's
period,
just Edo period.
Yeah.
It's always just Edo period.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a vague idea on the difference in aesthetics.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the Sengoku period is probably a bit more feudal, whereas the
okay.
Edo period is kind of wrapping up that side where people it's
Yeah,
starting to
'cause
get
Edo is a bit more Western.
peaceful.
Yeah.
It's like this is like the anime is set during the time where samurai are kind of on the way out.
Yeah, okay. Because that's like the big plot.
And then there's like the
backdrop,
Heian period, which is like the full kind of like Western influence period where
Oh,
like Demon Slayer is kind of set during that period.
Oh, Demon Slayer's Heian period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said Edo period in our Demon Slayer episode as
Yeah,
well.
maybe.
I just said like, like
all just feudal Japan
It's
to
just
us,
feudal
though.
Japan. It's just samurais just
We're not
going
history
around.
buffs, we're podcasters.
And like Hokusai has just been like alive for 1,000 years and making paintings for Japan.
Pretty much, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, he makes those cool T-shirts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
that you
he
can
makes
buy.
cool t-shirts. Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah, he's just like, you know,
He's just out there
He's
running
still like,
sweatshops, making
yeah,
T-shirts.
that's right. Yeah.
And tattoos. But no, the Onimusha based off of a popular video game series that we haven't really played.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to play them to
Yeah, I
watch
don't
this
think
show.
so because
Yeah.
I think each of the games has a different protagonist.
Yeah,
anyway.
I played a little bit of the first one just for as a little bit of research. I played it for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a bit hack and slash. Is
Yeah,
that?
it's like kind of a hack and slash with like the Resident Evil tank control style.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, it's a pretty old school game.
Is that on PS1 era?
I think it was PS2. I know that Onimusha 3 had like Jean Reno in it, and there was
okay.
like it's time travel element.
Big fan of Jean Reno.
Yeah, I think each Onimusha is quite different. I think there is like a protagonist that does continue through the game series, but he's not the protagonist of the anime.
Okay. But it is basically samurai fighting demons, right?
Yeah, samurais fighting demons, yeah, and fighting some samurai as well.
Which is what this anime is. Samurai fighting demons and sometimes some samurai that are also kind of demon-esque, right?
Yeah. And this also comes from one of the finest directors from Japan.
Japanese cinema,
yeah. Takashi Miike, man.
Yes, legend of the Japanese
Yeah.
screen. Yeah.
Also, a bit of a chameleon when it comes to different genres of things. Does horror, does good action samurai stuff as well. 13 Assassins, fantastic movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a style though.
Yeah.
And I would say the style is I guess he was like a big shock director at the time, right? Like kind of putting out these works that were pretty confronting to audiences.
And quite like a subversion of expectation. This anime does that a little bit, but this anime is quite straightforward.
Yeah, it's pretty subdued for him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we watched The Killer recently as well, the David Fincher film, and that is like a Netflix property as well. And I thought that was a pretty like subdued effort from that particular director. So this is kind of in a similar vein where it's like maybe these old school directors are just kind of like, let's just make something fun.
Just make something fun, something cool. I kind of get it. Like,
but this guy like Takashi Miike, he's a legend. He doesn't need to prove anything anymore. He's just
he doesn't give a shit.
I'm sure he's at the point where it's like just make something fun.
Just make something fun. Yeah.
And this anime was fun.
It's very fun. Yeah.
Very easy to watch.
Yeah. I think Boone sent me a trailer. He said this looks cool. And the trailer is fucking cool.
It's really good.
It's like,
I dare say it's better than the series itself.
Yeah, I think so. I was really excited for this anime. Like, the trailer just made it seem so cool. Like, it was, it's just like a cap of the show's, like, kind of action points. And then they were playing, I think it's called Loneliest by Main Skin, who I'd never heard of. Okay. I think they're an Italian alternative rock band.
Sure.
But I just thought, this was just a really cool trailer because like the music is not suiting the time period, but it kind of still feels in tune with the source material that it's using.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing in a samurai anime.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Inappropriate music, but just somehow fits the vibe.
Yeah,
the show,
it's amazing. I love that just about anime in general. So like, like I was like, man, I can't wait for this anime.
Yeah.
So the story is about Miyamoto Musashi, who is a real life famous samurai. A lot of people know him. I'm sure a lot of gym people know him because they use his name on the brandings of like protein powders.
Yes.
Yeah, but he was
he invented that protein powder, right?
Yeah, he invented
that's
it.
That's why he's so strong.
But he's a very like famous samurai for being one of those samurais who, I think his quote is about like balancing life and shit. And he never lost a duel or something like that. And he was really into art as well.
Sure.
So
a bit of a academic as well as he's not just a muscle man.
Yeah.
So this particular characterization of Musashi Miyamoto is modeled after Toshiro Mifune, who is famous from starring as a Japanese samurai in Akira Kurosawa films. Things like Rashomon, Seven Samurai, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see that. The really like manly Japanese samurai beard. It's a fucking gangster, man.
For sure. And the voice acting as well, very very gruff, very kind of world weary. Voiced by Akio Otsuka, who I'm not too familiar with. I'm sure he's a big time voice actor in Japan.
He's like 64 years old.
He's done Solid Snake, Snake, and Venom Snake.
Yeah, okay. I guess he definitely would have the voice for it. Like he's been on a lot of stuff that I'm just like quickly having a look through on the wiki. But he does a good job here. Like sells the role really well.
We watched the Japanese audio, by the way.
Yeah, the original, as you should.
Sorry, we don't often watch English dubs. We usually watch the original language.
Yeah.
Just cause, I guess.
Just cause. I mean, why not? Because it's the original. Is that how you're supposed to watch
reading
anime?
Subtitles. Whenever we get the chance to read subtitles,
you sound like you're like ashamed to watch the original.
No. I'm just not. I'm just not having a go at people that prefer the dub. Is what I'm trying to convey here.
I'm having a go at the people that watch the dub.
Okay.
That's
Just like enjoy it however you want to watch it, I reckon.
I understand, but
English voice actors need jobs too. And, like sometimes they do a good job. But no, like the character of Musashi, he's set up from the get-go as a badass. And we see that because he beats up a bunch of warrior monks.
Yeah,
like with his bare hands. They're all trying to spear him to death. And he's just like bare fisting them. And then that gives him access to the demon gauntlet.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a video game thing.
It must be a video game thing. Yeah.
So the demon gauntlet allows him to absorb the souls of the Genma that that he slays. So the Genma are like the demon entities that he slays. So this is where like the kind of video game background might help, because the anime doesn't really delve into the lore too much. So
yeah,
like,
not really. Yeah.
Musashi is a Onimusha, who is like a demon warrior, right? So Oni is a kind of demon, I guess. But also Genma are a type of demon, but they're like bad demons.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I just kind of just rolled with it.
Yeah, you don't really need to get it, but like they do mention it a couple of times that he's like a Oni and they're Genma. So, but anyway, like the demon gauntlet gives him superhuman strength, but he can't use it for too long.
Because it will like overpower him or like take control of him.
That's right.
Pretty standard.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man Black Symbiote kind of thing. Yeah.
Or cyberpunk mods.
Yeah.
Even though in the games, I'm pretty sure you can just use them as much as you want.
Yeah, probably the same in Onimusha. You can probably use the demon gauntlet as much as you want, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Musashi goes out on his quest. So his quest, Tavi, if I remember right. Sorry, it's been a little bit of time.
Yeah, I did watch this about a month ago as well. Yeah.
But his quest is to go and slay a character named Remon, who is instigating some kind of coup against the government. So I think he's been tasked to kind of track down Remon and slay him. And he's traveling with a group of samurai that have been sent by some kind of shogun, maybe. So like his team consists, at the start it consists of, we don't know any of the characters' names, sorry, we forgot them, but it consists of the leader, who is like this older samurai guy with a top knot kind of thing. So he's like, he dies in the first episode, so it's not that important. But he was Remon's teacher.
Yeah.
There's a guy that has animal companions.
Yeah, he has these eagles.
Yeah, he trains 2 eagles to help him fight.
I think that's Goro Maru. I think that's that character.
Sure,
but the others I don't quite remember. Yeah, there's the eagle guy. We're just gonna call them like
we're doing a Song of the
character
Bandits
trait.
thing.
Yeah. So eagle guy. There's a medic guy. So he's not really a samurai.
The guy with the glasses.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's like poison mushroom guy.
Yeah, poison gas guy.
Or like junkie guy. He kind of looks like a junkie. He's got a really like gaunt face.
Yep. And long, like kind of mullet kind of hair. Yeah.
There's the monk that.
Oh yeah, the monk.
Yeah, that accompanies Musashi, and the little girl that they kind of stumble across in one of the other episodes. They come across a village.
That's right. The little girl's name is Sayo. So they meet her when they come across a village where Remon's base is supposed to be, but they find the village has been abandoned aside from one little girl. And it turns out Remon has turned all of the villagers into monsters, into zombie-like creatures.
That was a really cool episode. I really enjoyed the action scene and just all the action scenes in the whole series. It's quite good. So it's kind of that hybrid animation now that's starting to get a lot more popular. Well, we'd kind of seen it beforehand, maybe in Spriggan a little bit. I'm not going to say it hasn't been perfected because there's still some wonky animation in Onimusha at points as well, but it's getting better. I think we saw it like the best iteration of this style of animation is probably the first Slam Dunk.
Oh yeah.
So it's it's kind of like half cell shaded, half CGI.
Yeah.
So
it's been around for ages. This kind of blend of CGI and hand-drawn animation and cell animation. I think Aladdin. The Disney Aladdin's probably the first time I actually noticed it in mainstream film. Yeah. But like it's pretty seamless in this anime series. Like you said, the action, because it is quite fast-paced action as well, it's kind of like that almost like Samurai Champloo style.
Yeah.
Like fights don't go for too long. They're pretty brisk usually. But I think that's a good kind of pace for this kind of anime. Like this follows a very traditional anime format in that it's like 20-ish minute episodes, like 22 to 25
it's
minute
quite
episodes.
short,
and there's only 8 episodes in the entire series. So
it's kind of like the Journey to the West style storytelling. They're like traveling from one end to another with a group of people.
or even probably Akira Kurosawa's films. Yeah.
And most of them is this spoilers?
Let's do a little bit of non-spoilers first. We'll give you a spoiler warning before we drop major spoilers.
Yeah. So it is a journey with like a group of ragtags who seem quite weak at the beginning. And you're like, how are these guys gonna go along and fight demons?
Yeah.
with Musashi. And
They
he's
help
kind of
out a
like,
bit.
yeah.
I like the reveal of their skills because
Yeah,
at
yeah.
first you're like, yeah, these guys seem pretty useless.
Yeah.
But then they show like their skill sets, and it's not all about the sword play. You know,
Yeah.
like one guy has eagles.
Yeah.
Another guy has poison that he doesn't really use
Use it
until
till,
like
like,
later.
yeah. But we didn't even know it was a poison. He's
Yeah,
just
but he mentions he could use some poison if he wanted to. It's like,
Yeah.
if I really had to, I could use some poison right now. But I think you guys got this.
Yeah.
That's his vibe.
But like there's only really one big bad, which is Lemon.
There are a couple of like
Yeah, like the
intermediary big
Yoshioka
bads.
brothers and
Yes.
the sisters.
Yes, so I want to talk about that.
That was
That's
kinda
okay.
funny.
I kind of
Yeah.
forgot about them, but
Yeah.
So the brothers, there's three brothers, yeah, and it kind of turns out like that they have been demonified by Remon. So like
Yeah.
Remon his shtick is kind of like turning some people into full-fledged like zombie creatures, but
Yeah.
also giving stronger people like demon powers so that they are.
What was the like explanation for his powers? Because I think I just forgot. Like he's
I think he's like a scientist of some kind.
okay,
Or
yeah.
he's made a pact with the Genma or something.
Right,
Something to do
yeah.
with Genma.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty vague, I think, but like it
'Cause
doesn't
he's-
really matter. It's
yeah.
kind of like akin to like a Ninja Scrolls, right? Like
because his goal is very simple.
his
It's
goal
just
is
like
quite simple, yeah.
I just want to take over the world,
Pretty much,
basically. Yeah.
Well, he wants to get rid of all samurai.
Yeah.
Basically.
Which is-
he wants kind of like a new world order situation.
yeah.
So it's pretty typical bad guy stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, like the idea that you're giving these kind of like pretty strong samurai in their own right, like these kind of demon powers, it's kind of reminded me a bit of Ninja Scrolls because like they have all the characters in Ninja Scrolls kind of have vague like supernatural stuff going on as well that you don't really need to get. It's just a really cool visual when it happens.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of body horror stuff in this anime. Like,
Yeah, there is.
probably more than I
definitely.
was expecting.
Yeah, I think I was expecting it because it is like it's Onimusha, you know, it's a anime about like demons and shit, and it's Takashi Miike as well. So he will have his like body horror or horror aspects of it.
Yeah.
It's not scary at all, but like
no.
it's like I think it's done in a way that is very palatable though.
Sure, it's a
because like a
cool-
lot of Takashi Miike's stuff is
Hard
not
touch.
that palatable if you really think about it.
It's true,
yeah,
it's
his
true.
horror stuff. Yeah,
But this is more like, I guess people just kind of getting a bit bulgy and like really
yeah.
veiny, and like their facial features kind of contort into demonic faces. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
yeah. But even the violence is quite palatable as well. There's nothing that's like gonna make you uncomfortable. I mean, this is the same guy that did Ichi the Killer, you know, which is like
It's not
one
Ichi
of
the Killer.
one of the hardest movies for me to watch personally. Yeah, It's
and the
very,
storyline is pretty easy to digest as well. And yeah, I guess all the characters are pretty likable too. I mean, the bad guys are obviously unlikable, but the good guys are likable. But like, I like Musashi in that he's kind of a jerk sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really give a shit. He just wants to get his mission done.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I like that, to see that in protagonists. But I guess like all in all for me, it was very brisk.
You can finish this in like a couple of hours.
Yeah.
It's 8 episodes, and each episode's like 27 minutes. It's not very long. Yeah.
It was kind of done even before I realized it. I think maybe it does feel a little bit rushed towards the end. So maybe I could have used maybe a couple more episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
But you know, this generation these days, right, Dan?
well, no, I don't think this anime has really exceeded expectations in terms of popularity and
Yeah.
and
not
viewership.
that many people are talking about it.
Yeah. So
Just us.
yeah. But I liked it. I really liked it. I really like the art style.
Yeah, the art style is really cool. The fight sequences are fun. I especially like the village fight scene, the Yoshioka brothers fight. Yeah, and there is a final fight scene with a kind of another famous samurai apparently as well. So yeah, like Musashi and this other samurai, Kojiro Sasaki, kind of. Yeah, they're real life figures. Yeah,
So they have a big punch on at the end.
Yeah, and that was really cool. Yeah.
Would you recommend this to fans of anime or fans of samurai anime in particular?
Yeah, I would. Like, it's a really easy watch. It's not outstanding.
Yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking. And
yeah.
I think like I would probably recommend Samurai Champloo before this.
I mean, yeah, Samurai Champloo is a masterpiece, though. Like, Samurai Champloo is one of my favorite.
Oh, I guess it depends on personality as well, because this is a lot quicker.
Yeah. Samurai Champloo is a lot more in the flourish of, like, just its music. Like,
it's got a vibe.
It's got a vibe. Yeah, it's really, it stands out.
For this anime, the trailer has a vibe.
The trailer has a vibe.
The anime is basically just the anime.
Yeah, the anime doesn't really, it doesn't really live up to the trailer, in my opinion, as we said before.
Yeah, maybe watch the trailer. That will probably get you to watch this anime.
Yeah, but it's not time wasted. Like, it's definitely a fun watch. Like, if you don't have to think too much.
For sure.
All the characters like are quite likable as well. Like, they all have like their mini arcs. And yeah, it's conclusive as well.
It's finishes. So, that's good.
that's good on your Netflix for actually making a show than just finishing it, not just BSing us with like a fake sequel bait in for a show that is never going to finish.
We might get to talking about that for the next thing that we're talking about. But shall we do a little bit of spoilers for Onimusha as well?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the Yoshioka sisters.
You want to talk about them? Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. So like the Yoshioka brothers, when they confront them, it takes a full episode for them to conclude that fight. It's very very built up. You know, they're presented as this really formidable force, and like even Musashi might not be able to get out of this one.
Yeah,
he really struggles against them. Yeah, but then he eventually does beat them. Even though it costs the life of the hawk guy and the monk, I believe, dies in that point as well.
No, the monk dies during the brothers.
The brothers fight.
Yeah. The hawk guy dies like before that
the
one.
Brothers fight. Yeah. So yeah, but they do manage to defeat the Yoshioka brothers. The next episode starts off with the Yoshioka sisters. They rock up. They're like, oh, okay, they had sisters.
Yeah.
And then Musashi just beats them up.
He just beats them up. And then like they kind of go away. And then he just kills them in the
They come back later in the episode, a bit stronger, but he just kills them straight up.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. Seems a bit unnecessary. Seems a bit like... a bit cruel even.
It's that's not the first time that Takashi Miike has done something like this.
Really? What
I mean, there's definitely
it's a little bit misogynistic.
Yeah, how am I going to put this in a way?
Is that what you're tiptoeing around?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that. I think I was like, oh, that's a bit rough. Takashi Miike, you didn't have to put that in.
Yeah. I feel, he does that a little bit. But like if you watch the Takashi Miike movie, he just kills anyone, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's his show. He can do whatever he wants. Yeah. I just thought it was a bit like, You
think that they had their own, like, kind of...
Well, I mean...
Because the issue with that is, like, you're just retreading the same beat.
Yeah, but, like, what is that episode for, really? You know, like...
I think that episode is just him descending more into becoming an Onimusha. I think a lot of that episode is, like, his... tussles with using the gloves so much from what I remember of that.
I think it's like because Sayo gets hurt, right?
That's it.
She's kind of recovering. And then the poison guy kind of has a little freak out.
Yeah, the poison guy's like,
yeah. So it's kind of like all of them are struggling with like, what's going on and the idea of... So like, I don't think the Yoshioka sisters really play into that narrative of that episode. You know, like they could have kind of left them out. Like I know they needed something to start, like to get Sayo injured and kickstart that whole thing. But it could have been anything really.
I think the fact that they were women and they were dispatched so easily is kind of a Miike brand of like challenging the viewer a little bit. Because for me and you, it's like, it is a bit rough as well. It's honestly like they got a pretty light. If you think about some of the way he's treated some other women in his other movies, if you watch Ichi the Killer, it's intense. So.
I mean, it's not enough for me to go on any forums and start kind of being an SJW about it. But I mean, it did feel a little bit unnecessary to me.
I did giggle a little bit, to be honest.
It's just a little bit of Takashi Miike misogynistic humor in there for you.
Yeah.
Which is fun. But then eventually he gets to Lemon's palace, and then yeah, like a lot of shit happens within that palace.
Yeah.
So then one comes out, has a bit of an evil-gasm,
Yeah,
reveals his master plan to
Yeah.
eradicate all samurai. I can't remember the details of the plan, but it involves getting in touch with the Genma,
With the
and
Genma,
stuff.
some
Like,
sorts.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gets killed or gets chopped in half.
He gets incapacitated
Yes.
by his right hand
Like
man.
a hired goon, I guess. Yeah.
Kojiro Sasaki. And I think there is a popular battle that he did have in real life with Miyamoto Musashi
Okay.
in 1612. And he lost, where Sasaki was killed. So
So this is a continuation of those characters then from real life.
yeah, it must
So
be.
Musashi
Yeah.
killed Sasaki while they were still both human.
Yeah.
And now they're having a showdown where they're both kind of inhuman beings.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because he does mention, like, I owe you one, or kind of to
Yeah,
Musashi.
yeah.
In a way. So basically, he just wanted to fight Musashi this whole time.
Yeah.
So he was using them. And
So he was using Lemon, yeah. And that's the typical Takashi Miike subversion of expectation, which is, at this point, maybe it was surprising, but then it's like, oh yeah, that's fair. Because like Lemon for the whole series is counted as this big bad. He's this overbearing, omnipresent person who possessed all these people. He's taken over all these villages.
Yeah.
And then he has a very kind of like climactic moment where he possesses Sayo's mum and dad.
Oh, yeah.
And he's making them like kill their daughter while they're still conscious.
Yeah.
And then he's like telling him, what are you going to do about this, Musashi? And Sayo's like, don't do it. And then Musashi like makes his choice and cuts their heads off, which was also quite brutal as
He
well.
could have done anything to those people. He didn't have to cut their heads off.
That's true.
He could have
Yeah.
like pushed them away, punched them, chopped their arms off at least. I don't know.
Yeah, he could have done that.
I
Yeah.
think he waited too long. I think he got to the point where he had to.
He
like,
panicked.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah. So he cuts their heads off in front of Sayu, and he kind of feels a little bit bad. And then Lemon has an evilgasm, but then Kojiro just cuts his arms and legs off.
Yep.
And then there's I think that's another aesthetic that Takashi Miike likes, is the not decapitated, the de-limbed person. You know, it's in Audition, like the guy in the bag.
Yep.
It's in 13 Assassins, where the geisha who has been tortured by the person that they're trying to kill, she like has her arms and legs cut off as well.
He just can't help himself. He just loves
he likes
putting a
it.
head and a torso.
Yeah.
in his chin.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like the Takashi Miike signature like look. Just like he just likes that kind of body horror.
He doesn't die though. Lemon doesn't die from this. He manages to drag himself somehow to his laboratory, but when he gets there, he realizes he can't open the door or something. So he needs the help of the glasses guy. And then plot twist, glasses guy is maybe a bad guy, but also not really.
I'm not sure how I felt about that. Like it's as you said, it was a bit rushed. So he's just suddenly like, maybe I'm a bad guy for the plot's sake.
Yeah,
Which
because every anime character that's a good guy that wears glasses is secretly a bad guy, actually.
They try to explain it a little bit, because there are like flashbacks to like Lemon when he wasn't, because Lemon is not his real name. I've forgotten his real name, but like he's like a kid. But then he learns through his master, who he tries to convince as well, that, hey, I've got this like awesome plan. Let's just kill all the samurai. And the master's like, yeah, that's an awesome idea. So that's how Lemon kind of became evil. But there's like, they had like this match, this like shogi-esque match thing. And it's like, I defeated you because of this and that. But like, I don't think it was enough for like the glasses guy to just suddenly sort of maybe become evil. But then he kind of like tricks Lemon.
He's like secretly he's got a secret mission or something.
That's it.
To kill this guy or something. And gain access to his secrets or whatever. To use it for evil. So there's a bit where he's like almost going to kill Sayo, but then he just decides not to.
Because it's because like, oh, you've been through a lot, so I'm not going to.
So it's like kind of like not really. I think maybe that's another Takashi Miike style subversion. It's like, I'm a bad guy actually, but not really. I still have feelings. Which fair enough, I guess.
I think this is where the length of the anime, it needed to be like at least 4 more episodes, I reckon, to just flesh these themes out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I feel like Netflix is like, here's your budget, and it's like, oh, all right, I'll just do what I can with this.
Yeah. But what did you think of the ending overall? So like the showdown between Musashi and
I think the fight's pretty cool. It does get a little bit Dragon Ball Z-esque, whereas there's a lot of that like flashy arms where they're kind of just like not moving much. And so it's an easier way to animate.
Flailing at
But
each
no, I
other.
think it's a cool fight. And the fight ends kind of ambiguously, which I didn't mind.
Yeah, it's like a Rocky 2 style.
Yeah. And then like kind of after that, like the mountain basically collapsed, and he like gives up his Onimusha power. And he gives it back to Sayo to return to the monks.
Yep.
Because at this point, everyone is dead except the glasses guy, the medic guy, and Sayo. And then she just kind of has a happy ending. This is a very surprisingly happy ending for maybe a Takashi Miike movie.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like Musashi and Kojiro both have the endings that they wanted to go out
That's
on.
true, yeah.
Yeah. So it's wrapped up quite neatly. Like I don't think if there is going to be Onimusha season 2, it'd probably be based on someone else.
Yeah, probably.
It wouldn't be. I think this story is concluded.
Yeah.
And I really actually appreciate, because like maybe we'll get into this point when we talk about Blue Eye Samurai.
Yeah,
about,
maybe we
about
can get
finishing
into.
things.
Maybe we can use this as a segue to get into Blue Eye Samurai.
Yeah.
But to wrap up Onimusha, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. I think it's good.
It's
Yeah.
worth the time. I would say it's worth the time.
Yeah.
So Blue Eye Samurai, pretty different.
Very different,
Let me
yeah.
just bring up my wiki. So this Blue Eye Samurai is an American animated action televisual series created and written by husband and wife team Michael Green and Amber Noizumi, and animated by French company Blue Spirit. So first of all, format bit different from Onimusha. It is 8 episodes still, but each episode is about 45
minutes to an hour. Yeah.
So a little bit longer. Again, we'll talk non-spoilers first, and we'll give you a spoiler warning before we get into spoilers. But like the animation is quite different. It doesn't feel as Japanese, I would say.
Would you call this an anime?
No, because isn't anime just strictly from Japan?
Well,
I know.
Netflix likes to throw that title around a lot.
Sure, I think
That's
that's just
something
good.
as an
I think
anime.
that's just good SEO though, search engine kind of stuff.
But like it's kind of
like
hard.
how I call every music from Korea K-pop.
I mean, it's like basically saying like, is The Great Gatsby an Australian film? Or Elvis, if for that matter.
Sure, but I always thought anime is like champagne in that if it's not produced from champagne, it's not actually champagne.
Yeah,
it's sparkling wine.
I'm of that mindset as well, because this is not an anime, which is not besmirching the show's quality, because I like the show
There
a lot
are a
as
lot
well.
of American-based animated products that we've liked in the past.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
Fucking Arcane was really good.
Arcane is really good. Invincible was good.
Yeah, I really like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
There's good stuff coming from
And this
animation
is this is
studios.
another one of them, which is not really getting much press, which is kind of sad. Like
probably more than Onimusha.
You showed me this one. You sent me a trailer, and I thought it looked cool, but I was also very skeptical because this is a American production.
Yeah, you're like,
So-
American.
so I
What
was
did they
like-
know about animation?
It's more like it's not more that. It's more like I'm not used to a Japanese setting where everyone is speaking English.
Yes.
It happened in 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves,
Sure.
which is not a very good movie.
Electra. Is that better set in Japan? Maybe.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. What's that? What's that really shit movie? G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah, Snake Eyes. Yes,
One of
yes, of
the
course.
worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, like Bullet Train, we've talked about in the
Bullet
past.
Train,
Yeah,
so-
it's not always handled with the
Yeah.
same authenticity, I guess.
Yeah.
There's usually kind of like a Western gaze
Yeah.
going on when it comes to translating Japanese elements onto
Yeah.
the screen.
And even just the animation style is just different. It still has that like 3D, half CGI, half like cell drawn.
Yeah.
But like you can already tell the difference between like Onimusha and this show,
This
just
show
in its
is more
animation
like
style.
brush strokey. I
Yeah,
would say.
but even like it still felt
Technical
very
term, brush strokey. I know about animation.
It felt like I was watching a super violent cheese TV cartoon in the morning. Like, so when I was watching the first episode, I kind of had to get over that hurdle of
Sure.
like everyone is Japanese, but they're speaking English.
English voice acting as well.
English voice acting, and like the style of I'm just gonna call it the cheese TV style, where they're like kind of it's sort of family friendly. Then suddenly there's like sex, and then like people are getting like torn apart and like killed quite brutally.
Yes.
So, but like as the story goes along, I was sold. Like, yeah, this is a pretty underrated animation.
It's definitely very different to Onimusha in that Onimusha feels really Japanese.
Yeah.
Whereas this show doesn't really feel, it is set in Japan, but it doesn't really feel
I know what you mean,
Japanese,
but that's an interesting like commentary in a sense of like what's that video game on PS4? Ghost of Tsushima. So Ghost of Tsushima was a pretty critically acclaimed game. I know a few friends that really like that game. I've played it a bit. I didn't finish it. I kind of struggled with the hurdle of the English speaking of that. I switched it to Japanese.
Yeah.
But it still felt very Western.
Okay.
I think. But like that was a popular game, and I think it's done pretty well. But there was controversy in a sense of like this is a Western company that is making a Japanese like themed game.
Yeah.
And there were people that were like, oh, like you shouldn't play this because it's like you're not Japanese, so you can't make it. But Japanese people liked it. So yeah, this is really cool.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think there's
it's
anything to
ridiculous.
that.
Yeah,
but I mean, and that's getting its own adaptation. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So,
and they're making a second one as well.
yeah,
But
there is something to this aesthetic. It's a very different aesthetic to something like Onimusha.
Yeah.
But I do like the way I approach this anime is that it feels like exploitation cinema. Like it feels like your Kill Bills and your Man with the Iron Fists. You know, it's got that strong kind of like Western influenced take on Japan and feudal Japan, and like even there's like some things that are kind of like anachronistic. Like there's a bit of technology here that is not really like probably period accurate. It's definitely very stylized, but I really enjoyed that. Like the music choices, the dialogue is very like everybody's got a weird like kung fu name.
Yeah.
Like the 4 daggers are coming.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think the point I was trying to make is that anyone can make a story about anything as long as it's good.
Yeah.
So this is one of those which is good. So like I have a pretty high threshold or standard when it comes to like things being like period accurate or language accurate.
Tavi had to get over a lot of prejudices to actually like this show.
But it was,
so good on that is a
I think that's a testament to the show.
To how good the quality of this show is. It
I think it was
those.
sold for me. Like we'll talk more about this episode, but it was episode 7. I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, this is good.
So a little bit on the plot again, spoiler free. So our protagonist here is called Mizu. So she is a mixed race, blue-eyed Ronin. That's her character description in the wiki. So this is a world where all Western influence has been banished from Japan, and there are apparently only 4 white people left in the country.
Yeah.
Anybody that has this kind of Western blood in them, so Mizu included, is kind of scorned by this Japanese society, and they're looked down on as less than human. So she resents this. So she's trying to get revenge on her 4 potential fathers.
Yeah.
So she's trying to track down these 4 remaining white guys and basically kill them.
Yeah. But then she comes across a couple of characters along the way. There's Ringo, he has no hands, but he's like a good chef. But he kind of like witnesses Mizu's skill when she like dismembers this one dude for like causing a bit of a ruckus at the restaurant he works at. Ringo decides to dedicate himself to be her apprentice. He's a very likable guy. He's
Ringo.
he's very Disney sidekick.
Yes,
but
he is.
he actually has a point, and he's not just there to sell toys. So good on you, Ringo, for having like a pretty good personality. He's very
that
likable.
he has no hands, but he's overcome it in his life. He's kind of just learned to live with it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a different approach to like Mizu's perceived deformity. Mizu is very hung up on it. He's just kind of like, I'm chill. Yeah. Voiced by Masioka as well.
Is that Masioka? Yeah.
He brings that like that naivety, natural naivety in it. So that's really cool.
It's not getting killed like in the Meg 1 or the Meg 2, I think. Yeah. He's a one of them.
He? Okay. Yeah.
Because like he's a Japanese guy in a Chinese movie.
Not getting sidelined like in Bullet Train.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then there is Akemi and Taigen, who Akemi is like the daughter of a lord, who the lord himself had like worked from like pretty small upbringings, but then he's trying to marry Akemi off, and she's kind of wants to be free, so she's kind of like Belle, I guess.
She doesn't want to marry a gross shogun's son. She doesn't want to paint her teeth black, which was a thing that I didn't know about.
Yeah, I didn't know about that either. Yeah. Taigen is basically the person that she actually wants to marry, and he's kind of like a very proud samurai who's never lost a duel. I like his arc. Yeah. So this show's got really good writing, and I like how there's not too many like those are the four main characters. There is a couple of villains. I think the main villain is one of the white guys, is Abijah Fowler.
Abijah Fowler, voiced by
Kenneth Branagh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty big name. There's quite a few big names in this.
George Takei plays Seki, Princess Akemi's tutor.
Yeah.
Randall Park plays Heiji Shindo.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Randall Park. Yeah.
Business associate. And Keri Hiroyuki Tagawa plays Master Eiji, who is a blind blacksmith who raised Mizu.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even realize. Like, I knew they were in it, but I didn't know the characters that they play. Yeah, the blind guy, he's really cool. The blind swordsmith.
See, that's where it gets very like man with the iron fist to me. The idea of a blind blacksmith training this ultimate badass character.
Yeah.
Even like the design of Mizu. So Mizu is pretending to be a man because you have to, I guess. If you kind of do the revenge thing in Japan at that time. She's doing a Mulan. Just the idea of like she's trained under this blacksmith, so she's been able to kind of like learn how to fight with a sword by just looking at samurai practicing with the blades that the blacksmith has made. And because like she's also learned how to make swords, like there's this kind of like spiritual sense of like, oh, you need to have pure metal, but you also need impurities to make the finest sword. So there's like the writing is quite good.
Yeah, the writing is good. I actually want to talk about just like the writing and the themes in this show. I was kind of on a spiel about this the other day with you. I'll see how I can tiptoe around this.
Are you talking about race stuff?
I'm talking about I was going to say anime. Yeah. Well, this animation series is very much in line with what current Hollywood media likes to cover. It's got a strong female lead.
Okay,
It's got disabled characters that are quite like refreshingly positive.
Yep.
In Ringo, it does have commentary on like the sexism, with Akemi being sold off and like she should accept her fate kind of thing. So this is a very kind of like modern LA story that most people should like. The thing about this show is that they've weaved those themes in a way into a setting that actually makes sense and makes the story good. So all the themes are very relevant, and it's like wrapped in a really cool show.
Yeah, it's not ham-fisted.
It's not ham-fisted.
The issues that these characters are struggling with kind of define their characters as well. It's not an aside.
Mizu is portrayed as super strong and super like. She's very, very capable, but she's also very vulnerable at a lot of points in this show. She takes damage and she gets hurt. She's called out for some of the shit because she's not entirely a good person either.
Yeah. She's just hell-bent on revenge. She's laser focused on revenge to the point where even Ringo cannot reason with her at a point.
That was kind of like plot point was, oh, damn, Ringo, like that's rough. But like the thing is, like this is like the show that should be what people the perception. This is what
You're
people
trying to
should
say
watch.
this is how feminism should be handled in cinema. Is that what you're
basically.
saying,
So, but if I am gonna try to like sell this show to some people, and I said it's got this, they'll be like, "Oh, that's just woke garbage," which is unfortunate because this is a really good show.
More like blue woke samurai type.
Disney has run these themes, or modern Hollywood has run these themes into the ground with really shit movies, and people aren't going to see them. Like the Marvels, for example, which neither of us have watched.
Sure, might be okay.
It might be okay. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it's just not for us.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, these shows and stuff are failing because it's bad writing. And like a lot of the argument is you can't do this and that. And like people are sick of these themes. People aren't sick of the themes. I think people are just sick of bad like writing. And I think like the conscious thinking is that when I see these themes, it's going to be like a bad product, you know?
Yeah, I think it's like when the writing is bad, these kinds of themes are kind of brought to the forefront and made way too obvious. Whereas in this show, you could watch this show and not even notice the themes behind it.
Notice.
Yeah, like but they at the same time they would resonate to the audience that they're trying to reach. So.
I think anyone can resonate with anything, like being an outcast, being mixed race. Me growing up as an Asian kid in like a fucking full and white school.
On that note, how do you feel about the idea of this world where, you know, like people that are of mixed race are just ostracized? Because this was created by a husband and wife team, Michael Green and Amber Noizumi. And I read somewhere that they were basing the character of Mizu on their daughter.
Oh, okay.
On the child. I'm not sure if it's daughter or son. But so like I guess the argument is that do they perceive their child as a monster?
I don't think so. Because they're obviously like what they're saying in the show is that everyone else seems to perceive them as a monster. And again, this is the context of like feudal Japan, Edo period Japan.
Sure, Edo. It's Edo.
It's Edo. Everything's Edo
the carrying around sword is probably Edo.
And they're obviously portraying like Mizu as a very human character, completely flawed. Yeah. So I don't think they're saying that their daughter is a monster.
Yeah, they're just trying to kind of like highlight hardships maybe that their child might struggle with in the future.
But like this is just the time period, and you know, like people.
And ultimately, it is fantasy as well.
Yeah.
This is not a real
and
world.
This
is not a real thing that happened in Japan.
So I don't think their daughter's watching this. Like, do you think I'm a monster? I feel like she's probably smart enough to realize that this is just a
lot
story.
of lines in this show where they're like, "Oh, you're hideous. Look at his eye. Oh, you're a freak." Yeah.
But it's just. I think that's just the way people would react, you know. Because then, like to us watching it. And like we're like, Mizu doesn't look like a monster. She just looked like a normal person. But it's just like the perception of what, you know, people see back in the day. They're not used to it. You know?
They think black teeth is attractive.
Yeah.
I don't think black teeth is
attractive. Yeah. So it's I don't think so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really like this show. I think you know, we did allude a little bit ago that it does lead to a second season, which at this point unsure whether it is actually going to get a second season, but it does end on a cliffhanger. But I mean, even, you know, like I would love to see a continuation of this. It would be a shame if it didn't get picked up for a second season.
Fucking Netflix, like you're like taking my money for giving me a lower quality stream on a fucking computer. So you may as well finish the show rather than spend money on fucking Squid Game The Challenge, which nobody wants to watch. It's like Netflix, man. Like sometimes I really like the stuff that you make, but you also like spend a lot of money on garbage. Finish a damn show. Give me a second season of Song of the Bandits and a second season of Blue Eye Samurai.
Yeah. If you're listening to us talk about this show, and if you listen to Song of the Bandits, you know, get people aware of this show. Recommend it to your friends. Get people talking about it. And I think because I don't think enough people are talking about it.
I think that's what I wanted to say before. Like, I feel like this is a show. Here's finally a show that has all the themes that you want modern Hollywood, but it's actually good. And it's like, oh no, it's a bit Chinese, isn't it? Yeah, it's a bit
It's a bit Chinese though. I like that. I like the whole martial arts kind of like cinema vibe to it.
But like we're saying, I think you said that it's too Asian so people don't want to watch it. That's why no one's promoting it. So just promote more garbage. It's sad because like here's your show. This is what you guys want to see. It's like, oh, just look the other way.
Yeah,
and this is
it's a great looking show. Really good action in it. Like I think the action set pieces. They go on for a bit longer than they do in Onimusha.
Yeah.
But it's still not to the point where you get kind of sick and tired of watching it because they do add extra elements to it.
Yeah. And there is a fluidity to a lot of the action scenes as well. Kind of like, it's still that kind of Samurai Champloo style of fighting.
And she's not untouchable as well. Like she does get hurt and she does struggle through fights often. And it does span through like a series of timelines. So like, you know, there are time periods where she's not as skilled as she is in the present. So you get to see a lot.
There is quite a few action set pieces.
There's a lot. There's at least one per episode. So it's pretty cool. Really good climax as well, which I think we'll get into in spoiler territory. But yeah, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Let Rix know that they've actually made a good show with these themes. But like people don't want to watch it.
Give us a season 2.
Give us a season 2. Yeah.
All right. So spoilers. So she does eventually make her way to Abijah Fowler.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she does. She infiltrates his castle, which is seemingly impenetrable.
Yeah.
Manages to rescue Taigen, but is forced to retreat because Abijah Fowler has a gun.
Guns are pretty gangster. Yeah.
They usually beat a sword in a fight.
I mean, we haven't talked too much about Taigen. He's basically like, because Mizu beats him in a battle and his arc is that like he wants to fight. He's somehow convinced himself that Mizu fought in an unfair way, and then he wants to.
Well, he beats
agree.
her initially, but then she gets up and beats him.
Yeah.
So.
So maybe he's right. Yeah, but then like as the show goes on, he kind of grows a bit fond of Mizu. Yeah. So it's
interesting because he doesn't know she's a woman.
Yeah.
So like there are points where like they develop kind of like a bro camaraderie kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then it also turns like romantic at a point.
Yeah, at one point it kind of does.
That just really confuses him and like embarrasses them both basically. So I do like that. I think it makes it like for an interesting love triangle, I guess, because he does end up with Akemi at the end of this season. But I think if this show were to continue, I think they would definitely try to develop that love triangle a bit because it's interesting because I think Mizu as well starts to fall, like it starts to develop romantic feelings for
I
him.
think so. Mizu's had a pretty rough childhood and a rough teenhood, adulthood. I just remembered that whole plot line when she, because she believes that her mother is dead. Because when she's a kid, the village finds out that Mizu is mixed race, and then they basically burn down like her house, and they think that she thinks her mother is dead in there, but she finds out that her mother's like a prostitute somewhere else later, and then her mother's like, go marry this guy, like this kind of farmer dude, and then Mizu thinks like he's a brute at first, but then he actually kind of has somewhat of a gentle soul. But then they have like a slight tiff when they have like a fun spa session, and then he's like, "You really are a monster."
Because she beats him.
Yeah,
she beats him, and he can't handle it. And again, feminism, Tavi.
Yeah.
Guys can't handle strong women, so he flips out and seemingly sells her out to the authorities.
Yeah.
Well, although maybe he didn't, so it's a little bit ambiguous.
We don't really know whether he's sold her out, but then like he kind of like ends up being a coward, and then like she kills him.
Yeah, he blames the mum. The mum blames him. They get into a fight. He stabs the mum. And then Mizu kills him.
Yeah. So that's rough.
Yeah, it is rough. That came out of nowhere as well.
It did. That plot line. I wasn't expecting that.
Goes for an
different.
episode, and it's just wow, that's tragic.
So it's during the siege of the prostitute house where like she. Oh yeah, fuck! I just remember this plot where the lead lady or the host of the house has information on Abijah, and she says, "I'll give it to you if you like kill this like deaf mute girl that used to work for me because she was taken by the Lord, and like she's basically under a lot of like she gets beaten up a lot by him.
The only way to save her is to kill her because she can't actually save her because that would implicate the prostitute house as well, which would make the Lord go seek revenge.
Yeah.
So Mizu's task is to kill her and make it look like an accident or suicide or something. so as not to implicate them.
Yeah. So when she actually does go and find this girl,
Yeah.
and snaps her neck.
Yeah.
I was
Brutal.
very surprised because like the girl like doesn't want to die.
Yeah, there was no point where I thought Mizu was actually going to do this, and she just does it.
She just does it
with no hesitation.
Yeah,
and like she's got this whole plan where she makes it look like it's the other guy that's killed her.
Yeah, but she gets caught out anyway.
And then they do come to try to get revenge, and Mizu just kills them all. So like maybe she should have done that in the first place.
But, but the thing is, when she does kill, she does get very hurt.
She does, yeah.
So
she almost didn't make it through.
Yeah, she almost didn't make it. So it's like it was arguably the right choice.
That scene was so cool though, you know, when she's trapped under the door, and then she's like, because she's wearing these weights that kind of like, inhibit her a bit, give her a little bit of a handicap.
Yeah.
And then sometimes she removes the weights when she needs to fight better. But then like there's a scene where she's trapped under a door. You think, oh, how the fuck is she going to get out of this one?
Yeah.
And then she starts removing her weights, and it turns out like they're attachments to her sword, and it turns her sword into a spear, which is better for fighting like multiple opponents. And then that's how she gets out. That was pretty so cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, what's your favorite like action scene?
Probably that, I reckon.
Probably that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like the storming of the castle. That was a very like kind of anime moment.
Very video gamey.
Very video game. It was like, because it starts playing like that Metallica song. I was like, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be sick. And then like she like goes and fights all these guys over like a spiked pit, kills a bunch of dudes and runs up, and then she fights this massive ogre looking guy.
Yeah.
And then there's like a Japanese for whom the bell tolls.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And again, that's before when we talk about Onimusha and just playing like songs that aren't period match, but like fits the tone quite well.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they did like more of that, like in this show. Like the show has like some good songs. Even in that same episode, they play another like popular, I think 1970s or 80s song. I forgot, but like it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is just a fun.
I think
episode.
there is a Kill Bill reference as well, where they play one of the songs from Kill Bill.
I think it's cool because like it shows that the people that are making the show, they like that kind of stuff, and they're paying like it's not explicit, but there is a love for cinema, and we always like kind of like that in a creative. It is a show designed to like, as all projects are, like designed to make money, but there is a care to the show, and that's how it's like, look, we're not going to be able to get an all Japanese cast. Let's just go with English. That's fine.
Yeah,
and
let's
it
go
works.
with Randall Park.
Yeah, go with Randall Park, Yeah, because Korean. Yeah. But yeah, it was just like there was a certain fun, because sometimes when some movies use like popular music, it's also like
You're talking about Thor.
I'm talking about Thor. No, I'm talking about Black Adam. Okay. And Resident Evil, the TV series, to an extent. That's K-pop.
I think the fact that they didn't spam licensed music.
Yeah, I think they used it twice. Yeah.
And it's like a Japanese cover as well. I think that's quite a nice touch.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, it fires you up. It gets you. That's why I think that was my favorite episode. The least story one. It's just like, get to the top.
Yeah.
Get to Abijah.
And then get owned by a man with a gun.
Yeah, guns.
A big man with a gun, to be fair.
Yeah.
Abijah Fowler, he enacts his plan to overthrow the shogunate.
Yeah.
So he has secretly brought a lot of guns to Japan and has equipped his own personal army with guns, with the idea that they're going to take over the shogunate so that he can finally travel around freely instead of being trapped in this castle, working behind the scenes. He wants to walk around. He wants to go see Mount Fuji. He wants to do some sightseeing in Japan. Why wouldn't you? It's a beautiful country.
It is a beautiful country. We want to do that.
I agree with that sentiment, Abijah Fowler. He ends up doing that. Brings Ekemi and her family into danger.
Yeah.
There's a really funny scene where like
we were talking about
so before getting to the shogunate, like they stop by all these kind of whorehouses and they have a good time there. And one of the places they stop in is the place that Akemi used to work in. So she's made a lot of mates in that place. And eventually, like through these contacts, Akemi finds out about Abijah Fowler's plan to storm the castle. So she takes her friend, who is a prostitute, to go say this plan to her dad. They're like, oh, we need to do something about this. Like, there's a big army coming to overthrow the government, Dad. Like, what are we going to do? And the dad's like, yeah, thank you for telling me. Who else knows about this? Which is the first red flag.
Yeah. when he said that, like I just burst out laughing because I knew what was gonna follow.
Because this guy's not a good guy.
He's not a
he
good
is
guy.
Akemi's dad, but we've seen
he's
throughout
not
the show.
he's not a super good
He's
guy.
not a
He's not a
villain.
super villain, I was gonna say, but like it's just the turn. It's just such an obvious.
Phrasing, Who else knows about this? And it's like, oh yeah, we're the only people that know about this.
He's like at the top floor.
It's like wrong answer,
and then he
mate.
like goes outside to like the balcony. This is definitely paraphrasing, but he's just like, come over here.
Look at this beautiful view. Look how high up we are.
he just chucks her.
Chucks her maid off the edge.
It was like,
silencing her.
it's funny because there's actually quite like a nice moment. It's like, because when Akemi first goes to the prostitute hell, the geisha house, they all like ostracize her first for being like a bit of a rich snob.
Yeah.
But then one of them is actually like, I treated you really badly and stuff. Like, why are you doing this? So it's actually like pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then she just chucked up there. So maybe she was right all along. Cost her life.
That's true.
Yeah. So like, it's that plot point is just used so much that like I just couldn't stop laughing.
It's really good.
It's the first. It's like there's no.
It's a very well telegraphed villainous turn. Just for the audience there, yeah. And then Abijah Fowler enacts his plan, but then Mizu goes to stop it. She does a lot of killing. She kills. Well, she doesn't actually kill Randall Park's character. I forget his name. Heiji Shindo?
Yeah. The guy that like tries to betray everyone, basically.
Yeah.
Tries to betray Abijah, but he doesn't that
Tries
guy
to
gets
betray
caught out.
Mizu and loses his hand for it.
Yeah.
So I think what's his name? The other guy kills him in the end.
Yeah, Taigen kills him.
Taigen kills him because he pretends to be dead.
Yeah, and Taigen like is like, you shifty bastard.
Yeah. And then so Mizu ends up confronting Abijah Fowler, but then Abijah Fowler manages to talk to her and say, like, you're not going to be able to find the others without me.
Yeah.
Pretty unsatisfying conclusion to that, I reckon.
Because you wanted to, there's sequel baiting.
Because there's 4 of them, though. There's 4 white people that she needs to kill. It's implied that she's already killed one of them. Abijah Fowler is her second target. So, like, you think that she's just going to kill him at the end, but then she just ends up sparing him.
I mean, you were saying that this is an ambitious series. I think there is a plan for this series, but this is depending on whether Netflix wants to renew it. And this is a pain of, like, watching TV series or web series in general, especially ones on Netflix. It's like, you don't know if they're going to finish. So, like, you don't really want to invest in that time to just, like, not have it conclude.
Yeah, it's not the same as, like, how anime works, I guess. I guess maybe this is kind of like a Japanese crunch situation as well. But usually you can tell when an anime is about to get cancelled. It's pretty well telegraphed. You can tell when they're kind of like a one and done season kind of thing. Whereas this is kind of like, the quality of this show would imply a second season will definitely happen. But it's so like, you can't tell what's going to happen in Netflix.
Because I think I'm not sure about the budget behind this show, but it seems like there is a lot of level of care. Like, I don't think there's ever a point in this show where it shows like there are budget cuts or whatever. I think the quality is pretty consistent.
I couldn't find the numbers in terms of budget and the numbers in terms of return is always very ambiguous when it comes to Netflix.
Don't know about anyone's opinion on this show. I saw a quick IMDb rating, which is quite high.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't know, I don't know if anyone has even seen this show.
I've kind of avoided reviews just for the sake of this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, like from the headlines of the reviews that I've looked across, like, yeah, it's overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And most people seem to have the same opinion as us in that, like, not enough people are talking about this show.
Yeah, it's weird because it's a really good show.
Yeah, I have a feeling this might be a grower. I think it's something that might grow over time through word of mouth. And yeah, hopefully, because like we said, we would love a second season.
Yeah, I think...
Let's make it happen, people.
Yeah, I think judging, because this is a double feature episode for us, like, it's quite clear from the way that we're talking is that you and I both like Blue Eyed Samurai better than Onimusha.
There's just more to it.
There's more to it. Yeah. And again, like you were saying before, I had to put a lot of prejudices aside when it comes to like watching these kind of shows. But yeah, sometimes, you know, the whiteys do it better than the Japs, you know? But like, no, I think it's just a better story. The journey is more interesting. It's just more to it,
and it looks just as good. It looks different, but just as good.
Yeah, and like it's fun. It's just the aesthetic is still it kind of like it does look very much like Disney Mulan, but then it's like
Disney
super
stuff,
violent. Yeah. There's a lot of dick in this show.
There's a bit of dick.
There's quite a bit of dick.
Dick and boobs. Yeah.
It's like
it's a bit of swearing. I think
because. When I was watching this show, well, I usually try to watch like really like eye candy shows like on my 4K TV. So I could only really watch this at night because like, you know, it's really awkward watching a sex scene, you know,
sure, and then when your mum walks in. Especially a cartoon sex scene. I think
so
that's another
awkward,
layer of like awkwardness.
I think I was like eating lunch and I'm like, I'll watch an episode, and then like Akemi starts like reciting poetry and fucking Tiger, and I'm like, I better watch this later. It's just fucking awkward.
Maybe that's another barrier as well to the success of this show, is that I want to think that people have moved past this mentality that cartoons are for kids, but I'm pretty sure we're not there yet.
Not in the West.
Yeah, no. And I think maybe that's probably definitely a barrier for this show, because it is such a Western show.
Yeah.
That there would be that prejudice in a lot of the audience where it's like, I thought this was a cartoon, but there's dick and boobs in it. Like, what is this? I don't like this.
I don't know. I think
this isn't for kids.
It's definitely like millennials know that cartoons are not just for kids.
Not all of them. Not all of us, I reckon.
I don't know. Yeah, it might be because I'm in a select group. It is like, it's a stupid way of thinking. You know how I feel about that. It's just like, it's dumb.
Yeah.
That people are just like cartoons. Like, there's been people who are like, cartoons are like inherently for kids. I'm like, no.
Howard Stern thinks that.
Yeah,
You're wrong,
I've seen that
Stern.
clip.
You're wrong. Samuel L. Jackson will tell you.
Yeah. Good on you, Samuel.
Yeah.
Good on your Eiichiro Oda for making One Piece.
Yeah.
It's like animation is such a great like medium. And it's like, I can't really picture this being a live action show.
It doesn't need to be. This is great. Like, I think if I would have to choose between live action One Piece and this, like an original series that is purely animated, I'm tweaking this every time. Like, sometimes, like, just make an original series, make an original story.
Yeah.
And use animation because it's
fucking promote it, man. I didn't see jack shit about this show.
Yeah.
You showed me this. How did you discover this show?
My partner sent it to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Because she's mixed race. She's
I
want to see more of this shit.
No, it's really cool.
She's not a monster.
Yeah. It's just a cool show, and no one's talking about it. So hopefully, like, I mean, we're not the biggest YouTube channel or the biggest Spotify we don't have the biggest presence, but hopefully,
there's some big names in this. Like I'm just looking now. Stephanie Sue is in this.
Who does she play?
She plays I think she plays the prostitute that gets chucked out the window.
Oh, really?
Issa. Harisham Jr., one of our favorite guys, is in this.
As who?
As the second son, so the one that Akemi is supposed to marry, I guess.
Oh, okay. So this is like his most meaty role.
Mark Dacascos as Chiaki, an assassin. I don't remember that character.
Is he he's the leader of the Four Fangs.
I guess so.
Oh, that's Mark Dacascos.
Mark Dacascos.
Wow.
So yeah, there are some names in this show. So maybe that will be enough to, propel it into the public eye. But yeah, I mean, I think we've ranted enough about like how more people should watch it. If this hasn't sold you on it, I don't know what to say, man. I don't know.
Yeah. And watch Song of the Bandits as well, because I want a second season.
Do you have anything more to say about these two samurai shows? Shall we cap off Samurai Friday, Tavi?
Yeah, let's cap off. Yeah, Samurai Friday. Yeah. But no, both good shows. Blue White Samurai is very good. Yeah, it's kind of like the testament to just a well-told story that comes from like the West, but like it doesn't matter. Like I mean, we talk about the sadness all the time. That's Robert Javers. Made a fantastic Taiwanese.
Yeah. Sometimes lower budgets are better, because they can take more risks, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, what did you think about these two samurai cartoons? Did you like them, or do you think cartoons are just for kids? I'm sure you don't think that if you're still
listening to us, I think
cartoons for up to an hour. Yeah. But yeah, let us know what you thought, guys. You can get in touch with us at twoasianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Two Asian Blokes to see what we're up to, or just stay here, man. Stay here where you're, in the lobby. It's all good. However you want to enjoy your content. Happy Samurai Friday.
Happy Samurai Friday.
This is probably not going to be a recurring segment, if I'm going to be honest. Samurai Friday.
We've literally just came up with the title. But yeah, who knows? If you guys want more Samurai Friday, then there's plenty of samurai movies that we can cover.
We can do Afro Samurai. We can do Samurai Jack.
Yeah, we can do those.
We can do, speaking of Samuel Jackson,
I mean, we can do Samurai Champloo, like one of the greatest anime of all time.
I would love to do Samurai Champloo at some point.
Yeah, I think we need to do Samurai Champloo at some point. That anime is like, it's the best. Yeah, it's the best.
Next Friday, let's pencil it in.
Okay.
All right, guys. Until then, peace out.
All right, see ya.